What's the worst scandal to happen at your school?
There was a kid whose girlfriend brought a knife into school and planned to kill herself in the bathroom. He knew her locker combination, so he took the knife and hid it in his so she wouldn't do it and wouldn't get busted. Someone snitched on him and he got expelled for having a knife on campus. Whole town was pissed. A male gym teacher diddled some girls volleyball players. Principal got fired for threatening teachers if they didn't produce enough A's and driving a grade inflation scandal. That and the usual drugs and such.
The first kid sounds like a good guy, didn't deserve that at all. Schools can be dumbasses sometimes, I guess.
The principal slept with a student and his nude sexts were leaked.
People's willingness to voluntarily collect electronic receipts that incriminate them astounds me.
Some students broke into a local elderly reverend's home to rob him, thinking he was away. He sadly wasn't, and they proceeded to bludgeon him and his wife to death with baseball bats and beer bottles. They were caught pretty quickly, and although their names legally couldn't be published because they were minors, everyone including the local media knew who committed the crime. Media caused a circus at our school for weeks, harassing any student for comment many did because they thought it was cool. Although these three kids 131,415 were known to cause trouble, no one ever suspected they would be capable of a double homicide.
Shocking to say the least.
No one ever suspected they would be capable of a double homicide, and being Canada, their sentences were lenient 3 years for one. He's already killed another in a DUI.
A kid in my senior year short story class who sat directly behind me was charged with the stabbing, beheading and burning of one of his friend's drug dealer. I remember the day like it was yesterday, sitting in my short story class when my teacher came in tears because she just heard the news. Students didn't find out about it until later. I actually have a friend who testified in his trial because he purchased the murdering materials at the hardware store she worked at. Crazy, man.
Did some Googling. Is this in Michigan?
Is this J.P. Ulrich? I remember watching the trial on TV.
I worked with a kid that killed and cut up his own mother. Scariest thing was dude seemed completely normal. Granted it was a few years after the last time I saw him, but still.
We had a computer teacher football assistant coach who was just blasted all day, had so many DUIs he had to get rides to work, but was the cousin of the superintendent so he kept his job. Let's just say that when he crashed a student's car in the parking lot because he convinced them to let him borrow it, that was the beginning of the end of it. It was a small town. The scandal is that the super tried to cover it up by trying to convince the kid to take the heat for it. To no one's surprise, the kid was not convinced. They let him stay on as super for another 2 years.
I would have taken a huge bribe, then reported them for both.
Student brutally murdered his parents. He was a friend and co-captain of the soccer team. His mom was my English.
This one is incredibly sad. Would it be okay if I get more information as far as the school so I can read articles on it?
Sorry to hear that, mate.
It wasn't my school but close to my town. A boy murdered his parents and threw a party. He showed his friends the bodies in a room under blankets, I think, and the friend left and called the parents. A bunch of people I know were at the party.
Wait, so he murdered your English teacher?
The lunch lady was having sex with students and buying them alcohol.
This happened at my high school as well. Lunch lady looked a lot like Tim Tebow.
Here's a link to the article if anybody is
removed. I remember when this hit the news. It always amazed me that at multiple points in the decision-making process people thought, yes, this is okay. It's totally acceptable to spy on children or anyone really in their bedrooms. Multiple adults had to know about this and at least tacitly agree that this was okay. Someone's job duties that they accepted was to spy on children to catch them in compromising situations in the privacy of their home. Just amazing. Edit parent post was deleted. School administrators were using school-issued laptops to spy on kids with the webcams without them knowing. They caught a kid smoking weed and tried to get him in trouble. He sued and won.
How the hell did they think that wouldn't immediately backfire for them in exactly this way?
Good bloke. That's absolutely fucked also.
I have one of these laptops for online school. Poop.
Lower Marion.
I feel like this was copy-pasted from another thread edit I was.
Freshman year, a junior accused the PE teacher of sexually assaulting her after hours in the locker room. He was put on leave and eventually got off on a technicality. Senior year, there was a freak snowstorm in April, during which the quietest, nicest stoner in our class went missing. A day later they found his car in a ditch, and a week later when the snow melted, they found his body. head crashed and, in his presumed high AF state, gotten out to walk for help with no coat on. He eventually found a telephone pole, sat down against it to rest, and was believed to have frozen to death in the storm. Seeing his mom at her only child's funeral still haunts me.
That's really sad, can't find other words. I was in 4th or 5th grade and someone sketched in the middle school bathroom not to go on school Friday or I will bang bang. This was then brought to the attention of the county and state police and we didn't have school that day and the police searched everyone's lockers for a firearm. Edit. This was in Pennsylvania. They were never caught and I do not believe they found a weapon.
Wow, how old is that? I'm from UK, so not familiar with grade system, like 78 years old.
We had a gun scare as well. Someone had drawn a gun with a specific date in a bathroom stall. Was treated as a gun threat. The school stayed open on the day in question but had security and cops on standby. I went. Nothing happened. We later found out that, allegedly, a kid drew it on there to advertise his first rap album he was coming out with, and the title was Shoot, which a gun on the cover. SMH.
Someone did this in 8th grade and the administration just said fucking bet, didn't cancel school. The fire alarm had to be disabled after the 7th time it was pulled.
The caretaker killed 2 local girls and hid them in the school. He tried using the clay kiln to burn them. He later dumped them a few miles away.
What the F? When was this?
Sounds like something that happened here in the UK. Did he do an interview with the media too, saying he saw the girls, Man United kit?
Is this the one where he went on the news saying how he wished they were found? He was stood outside his house and they were stashed in the loft at the time?
Kid in my class sent an email to the White House, threatening to kill Socks, the Clintons' cat. Secret Service showed up a few days later after they tracked down the computer. Edit to add, link to the